in Liberia. We bring you what's in headlines. We keep you connected with news.
Listen at 7 p.m. every weekdays for Freedom Evening News Basket.
We're in the streets every day. We follow the stories everywhere, from every corner in Liberia. We bring you what's making headlines. We keep you connected with news you can trust.
Please listen at 7 p.m. every weekdays for Freedom Evening News Basket.
We're in the streets every day. We follow the stories everywhere, from every corner in Liberia. We bring you what's making headlines. We keep you connected with news you can trust.
Please listen at 7 p.m. every weekdays for Freedom Evening News Basket.
We're in the streets every day. We follow the stories everywhere, from every corner in Liberia. We bring you what's making headlines. We keep you connected with news you can trust.
Please listen at 7 p.m. every weekdays for Freedom Evening News Basket.
The News and Foreign Affairs Department of Freedom Communications Incorporated. Good evening and a pleasant welcome to Freedom Evening News Basket for the 5 minutes presentation of news from Liberia and across the world. Today is 20th November 2023. My name is Alexander Nyineke Nankari. Headlines and major stories we carry in this evening. NEC Liberia officially declares Ambassador Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party as the winner of the 2023 presidential and legislative elections. Another is received of complaints from the CDC for election fraud. NAFA Director General Emma Glasgow refutes Spoon FM talk show panelists' allegation of strand fishing operations in Liberia without payment to the government, challenges them to show proof. President Tinubu of Nigeria lost President George Weah for defying the stereotype that peaceful transitions of power are impossible on the continent by conceding defeat to his main rival Joseph Boakai. Away from home, South Africa calls on ICC to issue an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, according to the BBC. The details of these, including the news bulletin, the voices behind the news, are all packaged in this presentation, and this presentation is partly sponsored by Crown Stoppers Liberia. It has been relayed on Radio Hardware in Pokwa District, Grand Cape County. First, the news bulletin with Stephen Compton.
The National Elections Commission has officially announced Ambassador Joseph Boakai of the opposition Unity Party as the winner of National Elections Commission has officially announced Ambassador Joseph Boakai of the opposition Unity Party as the winner of the 2023 presidential and legislative elections. The October 10 presidential poll was heavily contested by 20 presidential candidates, with the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change and Unity Party making it to the runoff on November 14, 2023. Speaking during the National Election Commission's daily election briefing Monday at its headquarters, NEC boss David Eto Brown Lasana said Joseph Boyka of the Unity Party obtained 814,481 votes, constituting 50.64%, while the ruling CDC accumulated 793,914 votes, constituting 49.36%, thus declaring the Boyka Kontiki of the Unity Party as winner. The Liberian electoral body, through its boss, at the same time acknowledged that a complaint had been filed by members of the CDC regarding an alleged electoral fraud in Nema County. Madam Lassanan assured the public of NEC's intervention in the complaint and to publish its finding in the period of 30 days. The National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority Director General Herman Glasgow has sharply reacted to Spoon FM talk show panelist allegation of skimming fish operation in the country without payment to the government. Over the weekend, Spoon panelists alleged that some shipping fishing operation is ongoing in the country without any payment to the Liberian government. But responding to the allegation with rabble that reporters Monday in Monrovia, Mana Glasgow described the allegation as false and misleading. She noted that at no time any fishing shipping activity conducted in the waters of Liberia without a legal agreement supported by payment receipt. According to Mana Glasgow, all lessened vessel payments are published on the institution's website. However, the National Fishery and Aquaculture Authority Director General said the reason being the allegation is due to a staff who was once a media practitioner was disciplined administratively for breaching the institution's human resource policy. NAFA boss also disclosed that her leadership is open to any form of update immediately after the boycott government is inducted into office. She further that NAFA under the administration received more than 100 million United States dollar both loan and grants, which clearly demonstrates a sign of trust and confidence by development partners. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has lauded President George Weah for showcasing leadership and statesmanship by conceding defeat to his main rival, Ambassador Joseph Boyka of the Unity Party. The National Election Commission Friday, November 17, reported results from 5,865 out of the total 5,890 polling places, equivalent to 99.58%, with Joseph Boyka of the opposition Unity Party receiving 50.89%, while President George Weah obtained 49.11%. In a late Friday speech addressing the runoff election result, President George Weah stated that though the next result are not final, they indicate a lead for former Vice President Joseph Boyka that make it impossible for him to surpass. Weah declared that under his leadership, the 2023 presidential elections were organized with a commitment to fairness, peace, inclusiveness, transparency, and credibility. He acknowledged the close result indicating a deep division within the country and urged unity during the transition to a new administration. In a statement signed by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity Aruji Alili, Tinubu conducted thus commended President George Weah for defying the stated that peaceful transition of power are impossible on the African continent. While congratulating President-elect Joseph Boyka, Tinubu advised him to prioritize good governance for the people of Liberia. The former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, who led the West African Elders Forum in Liberia, also praised President Weah for advancing peace and progress in the country. President of the Liberia Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Victor Kanu, is calling on all Liberians, irrespective of culture, religion, political affiliation, and other divides, to unite and maintain the peace of the country. Kanu said President Wiad's concession message did not just demonstrate his respect for democratic value, but also his unwavering commitment to putting country above self, thus congratulating him for not only earning himself national but international and global respect and admiration as a true Democrat. The Liberia Institute of Certified Public Accountants president, however, called on President-elect Joseph Boakai to put at the forefront the implementation of campaign promises to the Liberian people if the hope and aspiration of the citizen are to be fulfilled by his government. According to him, it is no more Boakai versus we are adding, politicking is over and it is now time for all Liberians to unite and support the new government. Chinese ambassador extraordinary to Liberia Yan Chigu pledged his country's support to the arrest platform of the incoming Unity Party government. Arrest on the Boakai administration is agriculture, road, rule of law, education, sustain, and tourism. He pointed out that China is willing to provide help to strengthen the areas of agriculture, road, rule of law, among other things. The ambassador hailed the cordial ties sustaining between the two nations and looks forward to moving the relationship to a new level during his tenure in the country. The Chinese envoy told the president-elect that the government of the People's Republic of China remember the numerous contributions of Ambassador Joseph Yoman Boakai towards the building of a sustained diplomatic relationship between China and Liberia when he served as vice president of the Republic of Liberia. He added that some of the projects executed by the Chinese government under former President Ely Johnson's salute include the Tapita Hospital, the new terminal at the Roberts International Airport, and the University of Liberia buildings at the center, among other things. The ambassador noted that they were made possible through the good and visionary leadership of both nations. In response, the president-elect former Vice President Joseph Boakai lauded the Chinese ambassador and stressed that the country is blessed with a rich soil and a need for capacity building cannot be overly emphasized. The Ministry of Information says its attention has been drawn to the public outrage surrounding the reported action of Assistant Minister David Colette to remove furniture out of his office following the announcement of the results of the runoff election. Mikal emphasized that the action by the assistant minister runs contrary to the institution of the head Minister Colette, who is on study leave out of the country, has however informed the public through his social media platform that the material in question belonged to himself and his colleague following an inquiry into the fact that might not be back in the country before the administration of Joseph Boakai. According to a release from the ministry minister Renin, who is the head of the ministry, emphasized that the action was wrong and was not in keeping with the conscious manner in which the WIA administration intended to use its sources. The release further that the assistant minister has therefore been mandated to return the materials and wait for the period of transition when all office equipment, including furniture, will properly be accounted for by the GSA. Joint civil society organizations in Liberia have congratulated President-elect Joseph Boakai for winning the 2023 presidential and legislative election held recently in the country. Speaking in a press conference on behalf of the various organizations on Monday, the executive director of the Organization for Women and Children said the election of President-elect Joseph Boakai marks an important milestone in the country in terms of a peaceful transition of one democratic government to another. She explained that while Ambassador Joseph Boakai obtained 814,481 votes, which constitute 50.64% of the total valid votes, with heartfelt gratitude. They extended thanks and appreciation to President George Weah for honoring his commitment to Liberians and the world alike for conducting the free, fair, and transparent election. Executive Director further asserted that their joy stands for individual and collective effort and that the result for Liberians to uphold and nurture their country's democracy, adding that as civil society organization, they welcome President Weah's concession speech in which he said the CDC has lost the election but Liberia has won. She also narrated that it is time for graciousness in effect, a time to place the country above party and patriotism above personal interest. In the wake of threat to democracy in West Africa, the Election Coordinating Committee has commended President George Weah for conceding defeat to President-elect Joseph Boakai of the opposition Unity Party. The ECC, in a release over the weekend, said the 2023 election was a win for all Liberians in the wake of a threat to the democracy in West Africa. The ECC statement stated that President Weah's concession speech demonstrates a mark of leadership and statesmanship. According to the ECC, Liberia is about to make another historic milestone. Therein, one certain democratically elected president will peacefully transition power to another democratically elected president in January 2024. As the nation awaits the transfer of democratic power to President-elect, the ECC calls on the UP to work closely with the sitting government to develop a comprehensive transition plan to ensure that the process is done in a smooth and inclusive manner. Well, Alex is back to you.
Stephen Compton with the news bulletin returns later on for the foreign developments. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Freedom Living News Basket for the 5 minutes presentation of news from Liberia and across the world. One of the top developments we follow in this evening: President Tinubu of Nigeria lost President George Weah for defying a stereotype that peaceful transitions of power are impossible on the continent of Africa by conceding defeat to his main rival, Joseph Boakai. Let's now bring you the arch of horses behind the news, beginning with this development. National Elections Commission has officially announced Ambassador Joseph Boakai of the opposition Unity Party as the winner of the 2023 presidential legislative elections. The October 10 presidential poll was heavily contested by 20 presidential candidates, with the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change and Unity Party making a total runoff on November 14, 2023. Speaking during the National Elections Commission's daily election press briefing Monday at its headquarters, NEC boss David Eto Brown Lassana said Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party obtained 814,481 votes, constituting 50.64%, while the ruling CDC accumulated 793,914 votes, constituting 49.36%, thus declaring the Boakai Cone ticket of the Unity Party as winner.
Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I now present the National Presidential Final Tally Report Consolidated. National Presidential Final Tally Report Consolidated. 5,890 polling places. Of a total of 5,890 polling places, constituting 100%. Borka Joseph N. UP. Votes obtained 814,481, constituting 50.64%. Wia George Mane CDC. Votes obtained 793,914, constituting 49.36%. Total valid votes 1,608,395, constituting 100%. Total invalid votes 25,788. Total votes 1,634,183. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, in this connection, the results of the presidential runoff election indicate that the presidential ticket of candidates Borka Joseph N. and Jeremiah K. Kung of UP has the highest number of votes, 814,481, constituting 50.64% over Wia George Mane and Joe Howard Taylor of CDC, 793,914, constituting 49.36% votes. Hence, presidential ticket of candidates Joseph M. Borka and Jeremiah K. Kung of the Unity Party is declared by the Commission as winner of the 14 November 2023 runoff election.
Madam David Brown Lassanan of the National Elections Commission has at the same time acknowledged that a complaint had been filed by members of the CDC regarding an alleged electoral fraud in Nimba County. Madam Lassanan assured the public of the next intervention in the complaint and publish its findings in a period of 30 days.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the Commission informs you that on Friday, 17 November 2023, the Commission, through its magisterial offices in Upper and Lower Nimba County, received 2 complaints from the CDC regarding the conduct of the runoff election in Nimba County. May I inform you that consistent with Article 83C of the Constitution, the NEC has 30 days to investigate and render a decision in this matter. We will remain where we are. We told you that there are complaints to that effect, and it's obvious that those complaints will be sent to the presiding for this investigation. They have issues with the conduct of the runoff. When it gets to the presiding, it will be made public as to what it is. But we're saying to you that the CDC did send a complaint to the 2 offices in Nimba, Upper and Lower Nimba County. Their complaint is based on the conduct of the runoff election in Nimba County. Firstly, I will say that I cannot give you the exact number of cases before the Commission, but the cases before the Commission include that which the CDC sent, as well as we're continuing to hear cases on the senatorial and representative race. Even up to today, we heard 5 or 6 cases today since we started this morning at 8. Some of them were returned to the hearing officers, while others were either dismissed for reasons that develop from the hearing process. But that information can be made available at a later date.
She's David Brown Lassanan, chairperson of the National Elections Commission of Liberia. The president of the Liberia Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Victor Kimonle, is calling on all Liberians, irrespective of culture, religion, political affiliations, and other divides, to unite and maintain the peace of Liberia. Mo said President Weah's conceptual speech did not just demonstrate his respect for democratic values, but also his unwavering commitment to putting control above self, thus congratulating him for not only earning himself national, but international and global respect and admiration as a true Democrat. The Liberia Institute of Certified Public Accountants President Harry called on President-elect Joseph Boakai to put at the forefront the implementation of his campaign promises to the Liberian people if the hope and aspirations of the citizens are to be fulfilled by his government.
On November 17, 2023, the National Elections Commission announced the provisional results, thus putting Ambassador Joseph M. Boakai of the Unity Party in the lead with 58.89% and 49.11% in favor of His Excellency Dr. George Manawiya of the Congress of Democratic Change of ballots counted as at that date. Given the votes obtained by the Unity Party, and that if the remaining votes were won by the CBC, the total won't surpass that of the Unity Party. His incumbent, His Excellency Dr. George Manawiya, in his wisdom, graciously conceded defeat and congratulated his opponent, Ambassador Joseph M. Boakai, on his victory. A move I termed very noble and honorable. An in-depth analysis of the President's concession speech highlights his unwavering commitment to upholding the tenets of democracy by overseeing a free, fair, transparent, and credible elections, as he promised throughout his tenure to date. The President's concession speech did not only demonstrate his respect for democratic values, but his unwavering commitment to put country above self. Congratulations, Mr. President, for you did not only earn yourself national, but regional and global respect and admiration as a true Democrat. You have once more made our beloved country Liberia a model of example that other nations can follow. At this juncture, I seize this opportunity through this medium to extend to Ambassador Joseph M. Boakai, President-elect, my heartfelt congratulations on his victory as the soon-to-be 26th President of the Republic. I urge all Liberians, irrespective of political affiliation, association, and all divide, to unite and put country above politics and political association and support the President-elect and his new government for the singular reason that any action or inaction that seeks to undermine the newly elected government will not only fight the President and his government, but Liberia as a whole in the most. It is no more President Weah versus Ambassador Boakai. Politicking is over. It's time for all Liberians to come together, unite, and support the new government for the common good of our country. I'm also pleased to call upon the President-elect to put at the forefront the implementation of his campaign promises to the Liberian people. Only then will he fulfill the dreams, hope, and aspirations of the Liberian people. Liberia has won.
He is the president of the Liberia Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Victor Kemunde speaking. Well, folks, the time is exactly 7:30. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Freedom Living News Basket for the 5 minutes presentation of news from Liberia and across the world. Just before we take a very short break, let's acquaint you with stories we follow in this evening. NEC Liberia officially declares Ambassador Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party as the winner of the 2023 presidential legislative elections. NAFA Director General Emma Glasgow refused Spoon FM talk show panelists' allegation of stream fishing operations in Liberia without payment to the government, challenges them to show proof. President Tinubu of Nigeria lost President George Weah for defying the stereotype that peaceful transitions of power are impossible on the continent of Africa, by conceding defeat to his main rival Joseph Boakai. And away from home, South Africa calls on ICC to issue an arrest warrant for Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu. That's according to the BBC. Yesterday's we'll come back, continue with more developments. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Joint civil society organizations in Liberia have congratulated President-elect Ambassador Joseph Boakai for winning the 2023 presidential and legislative elections held recently in the country. Speaking in a news conference on behalf of the various organizations on Monday, the executive director of the Organization for Women and Children said the election of President-elect Joseph Boakai marks an important milestone in the country in terms of a peaceful transition of one democratic government to another. She explained that while Ambassador Boakai obtained 814,481 votes, which constitutes 50.64% of the total valid votes, with heartfelt gratitude, they extended thanks and appreciation to President George Weah for honoring his commitment to Liberians and to the world at large for conducting free, fair, and transparent elections.
We wish to congratulate Ambassador Joseph Boakai for his election as president of the November 14, 2023 presidential election, having obtained 814,428, which amounts to 50.64% of the total valid votes counted by the National Elections Commission. Fellow Liberians and partners with great joy, we wish to commend the President of Liberia, George Manning Weah, for honoring his commitment to Liberians and the world to conduct free, fair, transparent, and credible elections. This joy stems from individual and collective effort in the resolve of Liberians to uphold and nurture their nascent democracy. As civil society organizations and leaders, we welcome President Weah's concession speech in which he said, the CDC has lost the election, but Liberia has won. This is a time for graciousness in defeat, a time to place our country above party and patriotism above personal interest. Let us heal the divisions caused by the campaign and come together as one nation united. We wholeheartedly applaud President Weah for not only doing so, but for courageously conceding defeat by congratulating the winner, Ambassador Joseph Boakai, prior to announcement of the final results by the National Elections Commission. This solidifies Liberia's position as one of the top bearers and enablers of democracy in Africa. So President Weah, thank you for allowing the will of the Liberian people to be built. We hope that this great legacy will be built upon by successful presidents, especially yourself. Again, Liberia has made history. We also applaud our international partners for providing financial, technical, moral, and other support that significantly impacted the process.
Meanwhile, the executive director of the Organization for Women and Children has also outlined several recommendations to the newly elected government of Ambassador Joseph Boakai in Hialadi.
Collaborate, implement a very transparent, robust transition, and an inclusive process. Among other things, all government properties, assets, finances must be identified and documented, with clear reports produced and disseminated to the public. This is important to avoid the mistakes of the past, including claims and counterclaims that the CDC government put over a very broke economy. 2. Comprehensively audit the outgoing administration and prosecute those who will be identified to have abused public resources and assets. In line, due process of our law call for an objective, thorough, and inclusive process that ensures that any public resources and assets corrupted are identified, retrieved, and used for the benefit of the public or population. Strongly recommend that the process be extended to the then previous United Party-led administration 2006-2007, during which some officials abused public trust and resources, for which they need to be held equally accountable. To ensure accountability for gender equality to make up for the limited women representation in the legislature. In conclusion, civil society remains a critical partner in strengthening Liberia's democracy and accountability. We commit to being steadfast, robust, and objectively critical in engaging with the current and incoming administrations to hold them accountable for their commitment as well as for mandate. We will continue to demand that public officials are more accountable to the people and that government duties are transparent so as to root out the menace of corruption which has destroyed the fabric of our nation for many years.
Still ahead of the news is the foreign development, and this development says the pace. A family member of a 4-bedroom house that got at fire, which left 4 people dead in Gantanimba counties, seeking assistance to rebuild the house. Grace Kofa, who is the daughter of the deceased, is seeking assistance from well-meaning Liberians, monitoring government and non-government officials to come to her aid. She lamented that she lost 4 of her family members to the fire, including her mother, and presently her brothers are situated at the rehabilitation center undergoing treatment.
I have come purposely to do SOS call, and the doctor, the sister, the auntie and the in-law of the four family members that got burned in the house in Kanda City, in that country on Friday, July 7, 2023, around the hour of 1:35 a.m. I have come to call stakeholder the business, women, the banker, the drivers, past and present government officials, peaceful loving people out there, concerned people to see reason and reasons to help me with finances and material come. People may rebuild the house that got burned and all with my four family members. I can thank you. One of the main reasons for which I want to rebuild the house since I'm not been working with them. They thought whether you should pray for the person has a speech so they went to the rehabilitation center so that they can be rehabilitated. And when they come back, we have a place for them to live. My parents bought the land, father did not pay the house until he died, and my mother, yeah.
Grace Kofa is a daughter of a deceased mother and other three people are left in a fire in Gantan, Nimba County. Well, folks, let's rejoin Stephen Canton for the foreign development.
The South African government has called on the International Crown Court to issue an arrest warrant for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by mid-December. Minister in the presidency, Kabuzo Shahinin, said if the RCC did not do this, it would signal a total failure of global governance. Israel says it is defending itself from the 7 October attack by Hamas, which saw 1,200 people killed and more than 200 taken hostage. It says it is trying to minimize civilian casualty, but Miles said the Israeli government was trying to clear most of Gaza of Palestinians and occupy it. South Africa, along with Bangladesh, Bolivia, Comoros, and Djibouti, submitted a referral to the RCC to investigate whether war crimes and crimes against humanity have been committed in Gaza. South Africa has long been a vocal supporter of the Palestinian case. The country has announced the withdrawal of its diplomats from Israel and suggested that the opposition of Israel's ambassador to Pretoria. Well, it's back to you, Alex.
Stephen Canton with the foreign development. He's taking us more on tonight's presentation of Freedom Evening News Basket. But just before we take a few headlines on the stories we follow this evening, NEC Liberia officially declares Ambassador Joseph Boakai of the Unity Party as the winner of the 2023 presidential and legislative elections. NAFA Director General Emma Glasgow refused Spoon FM talk show panelists' allegation of stream fishing operations in the country without payment to the government, challenges them to show proof. President Tinubu of Nigeria lost President George Weah for defying the stereotype that peaceful transitions of power are impossible on the continent of Africa by conceding defeat to his main rival, Joseph Boakai. And away from home, South Africa calls on the International Criminal Court to issue an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, according to the BBC. We'd love to say many thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and those who helped to make this presentation a success. Stephen Canton was here with the news bulletin. Ibrahim Kamaras had our control, and today's presentation was being sponsored by Crown Stoppers Liberia. It was relayed on Radio Hardware in Pogba District and Kittiman County. I'm Bella Zaranyanek, and I presented. Have a wonderful morning.